Hi guys, it's Alex here, and now we will show the third of the fundamental checkmates, which is king and two bishops against king. So there are two ways in which you can achieve this checkmate. What you want to do is you want to place the enemy king typically in the corner, and in this case you bring your king close and you combine the two bishops where one bishop covers the square adjacent to the enemy king that your own king cannot cover, and then the other bishop delivers checkmate along the diagonal, the bishop of the same color as the corner in which the enemy king is on. So this is checkmate in the corner. You can also construct a different type of checkmate, which is very similar, which is checkmate in the square next to the corner. So in this case, the bishop here would be on b7. The king supports the bishop, and the black king has no moves. So with our other bishop, we are able to deliver checkmate. The bishop can be anywhere on this diagonal. So these are the two types of checkmate that you can force with king and two bishops. Typically, it will be the corner checkmate, but very often they are connected. Black will try and avoid one or the other, but he cannot avoid both. So let's now show how we can actually checkmate with the king and two bishops from an open position. So let's place, for example, this position here. We can see that the black king is in the center of the board. So we need to know how we can drive the black king to a corner. Any corner will do. If we drive it to the dark squared corners, we will deliver checkmate with our dark squared bishop. And if we drive it to the light squared corners, we will deliver checkmate with our light squared bishop. The first step is to force the black king to the side of the board. The second step will be to progressively drive it to a corner of the board. And the final and perhaps easiest step is to simply deliver checkmate. So what we should do is we should be quite aggressive with our king. We should bring our king as close to the enemy king as possible. In this case, we can start with a move like king to e2. Now, black will try to fend off the white king. It's similar to what we saw in the king and rook versus king situation. So black will typically oppose the white king. Now, what we want to do is we want to push the king back. So in order to push the king back, we would like to see it go somewhere onto the fifth rank. But right now, it has all of these squares available on the fifth rank, but it also has one square available on the fourth rank here, d4. Sometimes it will have both of these squares available. So what we want to do is we bring our dark square bishop and we cover the adjacent squares. That pushes the king back. King must now go somewhere onto the fifth rank. And now we bring our king forward further. The king will typically oppose ours to try and delay. Bishop d4. We repeat the process. We cover both the squares adjacent to the king. The king must step back. And now we once again bring our king on over. Now the king steps to d6. In this case, we can see that f6 is unavailable and black is trying to avoid being pushed back to the side of the board. So king goes to d6. In this case, once again, we want to continue pushing the king back, but we can see that if we try the same idea of bishop e5, the king can now run either to c5 or to c6, and it is quite centralized. So here's the tricky part. We try to cover this square right next to the king. We go bishop to b5. This is not the only way to checkmate, but it's the fastest way, keeping the king from fleeing towards this area of the board. Now the black king will go back to e6. This is the only option unless it wants to step back a rank. And now we repeat our process, bishop to e5. Here, again, the king is forced to step back. Let's imagine the king goes to f7. Now we can approach with our king. King e7. And now, once again, d6 and d7, these are controlled. So we try and deprive the black king of more squares. Bishop to c7 blocking d8 and d6 with the dark squared bishop, and d7 with the light squared bishop. We can see that the net is tightening on the black king. The black king now goes to f7, and white can play bishop d8, taking away the e7 square. The e8 square is controlled by the white bishop. King g7, bishop g5, king f7, and now bishop f6. Once again, this familiar maneuver. We take away both the g7 and e7 squares, and the black king is pushed back. King g6, only move is king f8. Another waiting move. This is very typical. These waiting moves are typical of king and rook checkmate, king and two bishops checkmate, and also king, bishop, and knight checkmate. We will take a look at that next. King must now step onto g8. Bishop h6. This forces the king into the corner. It is now locked. Black can only step between h8 and g8. We now deliver a check. And after king g8, we have this second type of checkmate where the king is on the square next to a corner square and white delivers checkmate with bishop to c4. So, I hope that this helps you to deliver checkmate quickly if you do get such a position against an opponent in the future and you have not been so clear in the past. Hopefully now you know how to do so. Feel free to practice this technique on a board by yourself. I find that this is a very, very nice way of making sure that you not only know the theory, but you can put it into practice as well. So hope to see you hope you enjoyed this video, and hope to see you in the final video where we will be dealing with the trickiest checkmate of all, which is king, knight, and bishop versus a lone king.